Welcome to Chewing the Cud, your front row seat to life on Halton Farms, here in the heart of Cheshire. I'm Karen Halton, farm owner, along with my husband, Farmer Tom.
And I'm Dave Kirby, herd manager, ready to tell you what really happens behind the barn doors.
From caring for over 800 crossbred cows to fine-tuning our daily routines, each episode brings you the stories, the challenges and joys of modern dairy farming. Whether you're a seasoned farmer or just curious about where your milk comes from, there's something here for everyone.
So grab a seat in the barn, settle in and get ready to chew the cud with us, because there's always more to discover in the world of dairy.
Halton Farms, British Farming Awards Dairy Farmer of the Year.
Welcome everybody to another episode of Chewing the Cud at Halton Farms. I'm here again, so I'm Karen Halton. I'm here again with Dave, our herds manager.
Hello.
Hello, Dave.
Hello.
Not as radio voicey as we sometimes get from you, Dave.
No, sorry.
Today, I think we should talk about milking.
My favourite topic.
I know you love it.
Yeah.
And I think it'd be really interesting because not everybody has not a lot of people have seen a parlour, let alone been in a parlour.
Yeah.
So this is more your gig, really, because I don't milk, I calf rear and do lots of boring paperwork and things, lots of other things, but I don't actually milk. Used to milk on Christmas Day night. I used to do the night milking.
1 gig a year.
1 gig a year, Dave, was my gig. I always tended to do that 1 gig. Nowadays, everybody wants to milk on Christmas Day night.
Get away from the family.
Yeah, I think it is. I think that's what they do. So I got pushed off that one a long time ago. So I think it'd be really good if you could talk about milking today.
Yeah.
Because I know it's something you're very passionate about. Also, before we just start, what I want to say is, as a herds manager of quite a large herd, really, 500 cows, it's unusual for a herd manager to probably milk as much as you do. So I've never had a herd manager or, milk as much as you. So probably if we kind of start off there, tell us why you milk so much, whereas normally it wouldn't be the norm for a herds manager.
Number one, because I love it. I absolutely love milking cows. But for me, probably the most important job on the farm is milking the cows. Obviously, other people will disagree, but being able to see them cows regularly, hard word to say that, and you get to monitor the behaviour, and you get to know where cows come in the order of the milking, whether they come in the first line on a daily basis or the last line on a daily basis, and you begin to see, if a cow's coming in later, usually it indicates there's something wrong. And like I say, it's just you can't work with cows unless you milk them, in my opinion. So I like to be in there both milkings, morning, afternoon, every day. So I know that everything's well and being looked after correctly in the milking part. Realistically,
though, you have a lot of other stuff. So it's not really always realistic for you to be in there twice a day, is it? Because you do lots of other things around that. So tell us a bit about the other jobs that you're responsible for.
So I do all the computer updates. Any carvings need putting on the computer, and services need putting on the computer, and drying off, and foot trimming, and any medications that need giving, vaccinations. Pretty much everything to do with the cows.
You'll also walk the cows. We call it walking the cows, don't we?
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I try and walk them every single day at the same time. So I'll walk them after morning milking and after evening milking, afternoon milking. And then any time that I have spare in the day, I'll walk the cows. That's so I can see if there's any cows showing signs of illness, or so I can spot heats, so a cow that's bulling. And
so just tell us, when a cow's bulling, she's ready for serving?
Yeah, so she'll be ready for serving, or she'll be too early for serving. So we like to monitor heats. So we record any time a cow's mounting another cow, basically, or sniffing around or following me around the sheds. It's just a sign that she'll be in heat. Yeah.
Ready to get pregnant, basically.
Yeah.
And you say following you around the shed. our cows follow you around the shed anyway, because our cows are super duper friendly.
Yeah, that's true.
Luckily, you've not got long hair, so they can't pull your hair. For me, it's a blooming nightmare because they're always pulling my hair and licking and chewing me. And okay, so, and again, you say walking the cows. The cows are in the sheds or in the field or wherever, and you'll go and walk round them. It's not that you're getting them up and walking them round, is it?
No,
you're just letting them do what they do, and they're in their chill out, and you're just going and checking and walking round.
Yeah, that's why I like to go after milking, because usually they're led down. I can just have a nice scan round. If something's stood up walking around and she, a rumen's empty, I can identify a lot quicker and identify that something wrong. So like I say, I try and do it 2 or 3 times a day just to spot any like I say, ill cows or anything that's not right.
Can we just go back there? Because you said rumen empty.
Yeah.
Okay. I know now what that means.
Yeah.
But years ago, I wouldn't have known what that meant because we didn't get terminology like that in the horse world. Just explain what the rumen being empty means.
Yeah, so it just means that the cow's not eaten, basically, or she's not full. And cows love to eat, so there's something wrong if they're not eating. And they call it the deadly triangle on the cow. Yeah. And if it's sunken, it just shows that she's not eating. So
there's like where the hip bone is to the left of the hip bone. That's right, isn't it?
Yeah.
It sort of goes inwards, doesn't it? If they're not full.
Yeah.
So basically, and it indicates to us. So it's like a body condition score as well.
Yeah.
We can do that. So we, as well as mobility scoring them. So we have the vet come every 6 weeks or so and stand and watch them leave the parlour. And he can tell us if somebody's lame or, it could be something we've missed. We do that and we have a score to tell us how good or bad we are. We also do that on body condition.
Yeah.
So that lets us know if the cow is too fat or too thin.
Yeah. Yeah, the more times you see the cows, the better you can manage them. So, when the foot trimmer comes, I try and be with the foot trimmer. That's not just because I like good banter with Lee.
With your mate Lee.
Yeah, but because I get to see the cows that are coming in regularly, I get to see if there's a cow that's coming in more often than not. I know she's got issues, and therefore that's when I have to make the hard decisions when it comes to retirement cows. I'm in the milking parlour a lot because I can see, I can jump on anything that's ill straight away rather than leaving it too long and then it's a more serious issue. And also we have a milk sock, so a milk filter. So after every milking, I can check the milk sock and make sure that there's no mastitis and, the milking's been a clean milking. And I'm not relying on other people to do a job that I want doing myself to a high standard, basically.
Yeah. So, and that's really comforting for me because I know that you're in charge in that parlour, and when people work with you, they'll do it to your standards. Because we've talked about this before. You and I and Tom, we have quite high standards and a lot of attention to detail. And we've talked about sometimes it's really hard for people to keep that up.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, there's days I get out of bed and I'm like, I could do a cut in a corner today. I feel knackered. Yeah. But we just can't because when we cut corners, something gets ill or could do. Or if we miss something, for every day we miss something, it takes us twice so many more days to get better, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So for me, it's really comforting that you do that.
Yeah.
And it just sets a really great example to everybody else that works with you to keep to those standards.
Yeah. I mean, yesterday's a perfect example. So we had the foot trimmer in the morning and then I was off in the afternoon and I've come into the milking parlour this morning and there's a cow with clots. Now, in my head, it always seems to happen that way. And I always think, is it because, I didn't milk yesterday? And automatically I jump on that. But I actually think it's because cows like routine. They like to hear the same voices every single day at the same time. Yeah. And when they don't hear it, I truly believe it causes stress. So I like to have this, same people in the parlour as often as possible to create this consistency. And our routine's very consistent. So we use one wipe per cow. Then wipes are soaked in warm water with peracetic acid and dermasan, which is like a bit like fairy liquid. And we have the same routine. So we wipe all the cows, we put the units on, we strip out, then put the units on, and then when the cow's finished, we spray all the cows. And
Okay.
it's the
So
same
I'm going
every
to
single time.
I'm going to go back and say strip out, because if I didn't work in farming and I didn't milk cows, that'd sound very harsh to me.
Yeah.
So just explain what strip out means. Maybe we need another terminology for that.
Yeah. So we're just drawing the teat out. So basically you just gently squeeze at the top of the teat and pull down, and that just shows us if there's any mastitis or if the milk's looking a bit off colour.
Okay.
And it's a very important job, because if we can spot things early, if we can spot any lumps in the milk early, we can put her on a treatment plan and she'll be well within a couple of days. If we spot it too late, she'll be out for 10 days and not very well, and we could possibly lose her due to E. coli.
Yeah, so we have to be really on that. And things like that can be caused. It's not always about anything. It isn't necessarily something's happened where she's gotten dirty or something's happened. It can be sometimes when they're playing or they're fighting, because we know as well, you mentioned before about where cows come into the parlour.
Yeah.
They have a pecking order.
Yeah,
there's a
definitely.
hierarchy, isn't there? And I can't remember, off the top of my head, it's something like, I think it might be for every 40 in a shed. I mean, in one shed, we've got 265 or something. Or space for 265. So there can't be one queen out of all of those, but they group themselves. And I think it's every 40 or every 60, there's like a queen of that group. So there's a hierarchy. Although Soft Pants does break that rule a little bit. Because you've never been here when Soft Pants was milking.
No.
So Soft Pants is in the pet paddock now, or the pet pen. She's retired. Soft Pants was hilarious. She used to open doors. She'd go into the washroom where the washing machine is for your cloths, and she'd open the door. She'd get all the cloths out.
Wow.
She'd drag the cloths out. Got a picture of her chewing some cloths up. And if you were milking, she'd go around, when she left the parlour, she'd do that annoying thing that I saw you having to move a cow the other day, nicking corn from another cow that's milking. They get the head around this little flat bit and push it out, don't they, and nick corn. She did that a lot. But she also grabs the paper towel. So you know the roll of paper towel you've got at the end. She'd stand over the steps and she'd grab it with her mouth and just pull reams of it off.
Yeah.
She's such a madam. She'd end up on the grass verge out the front. She'd open a door through the motor room, get out through the dairy and go and eat on the grass verge.
And you still liked her.
I love her. She's so funny. That cow is hilarious.
Yeah.
And she's always the one that we wheel out when something's going on, because she just loves people. She hates other cows. So if you look at her now in the pet pen, she sits at the other side of the pen and the other 3 pets sit together.
Yeah.
When they're in the pet paddock, she's on one side of the field, they're on the other.
Yeah.
She'll go with the horses and it's fine. She just doesn't like other cows. So when she was in milk, she'd be in the high shed, in the big shed, lying in a sandbed, and they'd all be there. You'd go in the morning, get the cows out. You just let them flow out, don't you? And she'd always be the last to leave that bed and that shed. But she'd be in either the first or the second line in the parlour.
Wow.
And we were like,
Barge your
how
way through, like.
does she do that? Right? And you'd think she'd have to barge and push, but she'd get there with no stress. So we put a GoPro on her, because she wears a head collar, because we put a horse's head collar on her, and you can lead around and stuff. So she's halter trained. And we put a GoPro on her to see what she did. And literally, she leaves the shed last, and all the other cows will be queuing up, and so there's like troughs on the way to the parlour they can eat, isn't there, and stuff. And as she walks through, cows just move.
The parting of the Red Sea.
It's like the parting of the Red Sea. They just part the way for old Soft Pants, and she just wanders through, and you just see it on this GoPro.
Wow.
It's absolutely amazing. And then she gets to the front, and if the first line's gone in and there's a queue, everybody moves, and as soon as the side comes up to let the next group in, the door comes up, she's in first.
Wow.
That's how she did it.
Yeah. I mean, I used to have a favourite cow on one of the first farms I worked at. It was Aries Farm in Preston, and she was called Yolanda. I don't know if that's a name I give her or the farmer give her. And she was the first in every single day without fail. So you always knew if she wasn't in first, there was something wrong.
Yeah,
she was either
ill.
bulling or she was ill.
Yeah.
Cows are just great characters,
Yeah.
and we do have several in the herd. I try not to get too attached to individual cows, but we have Warty, we have is it Socks?
Socks, yeah. She's in there.
We have 888. I shouldn't need a name because it's Pete's favourite cow. And maybe that's her name, Pete's favourite cow. So we have a few cows with a bit of character.
Yeah. They are all, they might be in a big herd.
Yeah.
But in all fairness, when you get in amongst them and watch them, and if you work with them as closely as you do, and even me just being in the calf pens in the mornings and I just look over the gate and I watch them coming in and out and coming out. I always watch because I know if there's something wrong.
Yeah.
Because like I can tell the way they go back to the shed or come out of it if there's a problem going on.
Yeah.
And you see the same cows and the same cows come and say hello to me. And I know that if they don't turn up, there's something wrong. And it's like it's almost in your subconscious, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's really strange.
I mean, that's one of the great things about the farm here is that we have lots of different WhatsApp groups. So even when I've not got my eyes on the cows, somebody has. And that's a great thing that we have. So when the cows are coming out in the morning, Farmer Tom or Graham is usually walking at the back of them and he'll put anything on the WhatsApp group that's not right. So if there's a foot issue, he'll put it on the foot group. If there's a bulling issue, he'll put it on the bulling chat. And, so we're always watching. We're always learning traits
as a team,
and stuff. Yeah,
aren't we?
Which is really important.
Yeah, and the whole team kind of buys into that.
Yeah.
Because I think we make it quite clear to people that without the cows, they kind of pay for everything.
Yeah.
So they pay the wages, don't they?
Yeah.
The tractors don't pay the wages.
Yeah.
Tractors cost money and do work, but they don't actually give us a return per se.
And one of the important things for me is that we have the milking staff that we can trust, that are going to do the right job, that are going to have attention to detail. And I feel like we've eventually got that. We've got people who care and are trying to spot illnesses, trying to spot something that's not quite right. And it's great because, like I think I said last week on the last week's podcast, is we've not actually treated a cow with mastitis for 5 months, which is unheard of in this industry.
Which is absolutely fantastic.
And that's a team effort.
Yeah. Yeah. Well done, Dave. No, it's great. And I think people have that respect for you because they see your passion and how hard you work and what you do with those cows and how you treat the cows.
Yeah.
You know, you're so good with the cow. And for me, that's so important that there's no shouting, there's no kicking, hitting, screaming at them. There's none of that. It's so peaceful that if somebody does raise the voice and shout, I can hear it straight away and I pick up on it. Yeah. And then, I'll say to you, last night on the night milking, I think I heard somebody shout at the cows. Yeah. So you can go and deal with it then.
I mean, one of the great things about this farm, there's many great things, but one of the great things is when I turned up, I didn't even have to mention no sticks in the parlour. There were no sticks.
Absolutely no
because
way.
What people don't understand is this industry, people do it cows.
Yeah.
And they think that that's the easiest way to move them. And it's not. Just being quiet and just moving around them nice and easy, they'll move.
Yeah.
They don't need hitting. They don't need the tail shoving up the back end.
They don't need screaming at or shouting at. They will. And if you let them just do their own thing and get to the parlour, they want to get rid of the milk and they want to relieve themselves of the milk. So they'll let it down. Yeah. If you're aggravating them and spraying water at them to get them to move quicker and going, come on, get in. Yeah. They're just going to withhold. They're going to hold on to the milk and you're not going to get it. So it doesn't make sense.
We had a milker join the team not long ago and he couldn't believe that we didn't have one single cow that kicked, but that's because we treat them correctly and, they don't have to kick.
No, they don't kick. Why would they want to kick? I always say a cow doesn't get up in the morning. They don't have that. We've got this area in our brain, the cortex in the brain, and a cow's isn't as developed as a human's. So they don't get up in the morning. They haven't got that process where they can decide what they're going to do later on with a person. So they won't get up and go, oh, is John coming again? Yeah, I think I'll give him a bad day today because I just feel like winding him up.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is when he walks in and opens the gate, I'm going to walk off and go the other way around to annoy him.
Yeah.
They don't do that. What cows do is react to us. If we walk into the shed very fast and abrupt and a bit sort of agitated or just harassing something, then she will react. And and that's fight or flight.
Yeah.
And so she'll either, if we press them too much, then they might come at us, or if we kick one, they might kick us back. But rightly blooming so.
Yeah.
Or they'll leg it, and then they go the wrong way because they actually feel threatened.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes we do get heifers come in and they are quite flighty, but that's our job then to calm them down and make them feel safe. And what we do for them heifers is we just stay with them, we stroke the bag, and we put udder mint on afterwards, which just relaxes the bag. And, after a couple of days, they become fine. So.
Something I always say, right? So a heifer has a baby, right? Never has that heifer had a baby before. A heifer is a cow that's pregnant. Well, it's a young cow that's pregnant for the first time.
Yeah.
So all the experience from there on is brand new. From having the baby to being milked, because we milk them ourselves, first of all, where they have the baby. But then they have to come into the parlour and go into this big, long line of cows, and somebody behind is going to come and put a unit on and milk you, right? Well, first of all, they're going to pull your udders and check them, and then they're going to clean them and wash them and all this sort of stuff, and then put this unit on. And this machine with lots of noise is going to suckle away at your teats and milk you. Never has she experienced that.
No.
Nobody, 6 weeks before she gave birth, sent her to what do you call them where you go when you're having a baby? Oh, what do you call that thing?
Delivery suite?
No, you go to have like...
Antenatal classes.
Antenatal class, that's the one. So nobody sends her to antenatal classes 6 weeks before she gives birth to tell her, this is what's happening to your body. This is why you feel a bit weird. You're going to feel some pain, and then a creature's going to pop out the back. I once saw a heifer give birth in the dry shed, in the straw yard.
Yeah.
And I kid you not, she was stood up and she calved really easily. And this calf came out the back. She was right by the wall. I watched her turn round and look at it. She actually jumped in the air when she saw it, as if to go, oh my God, what's that? Where did that come from? She was actually quite freaked out that this thing had just appeared behind her. And it took her a little while to come round and start licking it. And some of them never do lick them. They reject them almost. And, we take over. But and I thought, oh my God, if that was a Persian, she'd have just been really shocked.
Yeah.
And she was shocked. And then we have to get her into the parlour with a load of other cows that some she's met because we mix them in the dry shed in the dry period, and that actually seems to work quite well. And then they're mixed into the older cows, and that actually helps them in the parlour a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, it just calms them down.
So it's all a brand new experience.
Yeah.
And we need to understand that.
Yeah. I mean, a couple of weeks before we like running through the foot bath as well. So they do get used to the routine of where they're going. But like you say, they've never been in the parlour before. They've never had that experience of somebody putting a cluster on them. It must be quite frightening.
Yeah. But no, it's good we understand that. And it's about putting that across to the people that work with us.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. Our herd has plenty more to say.
So I think it'd be a really good idea if I take you on a bit of a milking experience, and I'll take the microphone into the parlour and I'll go for a milking session and you can experience it on the podcast.
That'd be great, seeing as I haven't milked for so long.
It's not Christmas Day, Cats.
No, unfortunately not. That's a brilliant idea.
Yeah.
Wow, look forward to that. So I'll see you later.
See you later.
Just about to start morning milking. I'm milking with Matthew this morning. Matthew's worked at the farm, I think about 4 years. 3 years. We've done the 15 group, which is the cows who are either poorly or just recently calved. We took colostrum from the cows who are just calved, and we're giving it now to Kaz, who's in the calf pens, so she can feed the calves with the mother's milk. Good morning, Kaz. The first side of cows come in. Matthew's prepped them all, wiped them all, stripped them all, And now we're putting the units on. So the main thing with this job is just making sure that the teats are nice and clean. All the cows are well and not lame. If we spot any problems, we segregate them out and address them after milking. It's freezing cold this morning, so every time we put a unit on, it's absolutely freezing. Matthew's just counting the towels out. This is sometimes a big job for some of the lads. Adam often counts a couple less than he should do. Matthew seems to get it bob on every time. So we count 10 towels and put them either side of a bar at the front of the parlour. One of us takes 10 and wipes the back 10 cows, and the other person wipes the front 10 cows. To be efficient in the parlour, you have to work as a team. None of you are just standing around doing nothing, working towards the task of getting done as clean as possible, efficient as possible, and getting them back in the shed so they can lie down, eat food, and make more milk. Any cows that have specks of mastitis, we put yellow tapes on the legs so that we can monitor them, put odorant on them, try and get rid of the mastitis with natural remedies such as odorant, which basically soothes the udder, relaxes the muscles, gets rid of any inflammation, and therefore tends to get rid of mastitis. So we're on to the second side of cows now. All the low yielders, which is this first group, have yellow tape on the tail. And that just means we can identify them if they happen to be mixed into the other group, which is the highs. Any barren cows have yellow and white tape on the tails. So this just identifies them easier. If we see a heat in the shed, we can easily identify that it's a barren cow and we don't really need to make note of it. Barren just means that she'll be retiring, stay here until they stop giving milk, and then they'll be moved on. Unfortunately, it's not nice, but it's part of the job. The first side of cows has finished milking now, and I'm just spraying them up with iodine, which seals the teat end. It means no infection can get up there. When they get back into the sheds and they lie down. So the first side of cows is milked. They've been let go, and now we wash down the side and the floor. So it's a nice clean environment. So we wipe the cows when they come in with like a microfiber cloth that's been soaked in warm water, peracetic acid and dermasan, which is a bit like fairy liquid. So cows are just coming in now. They enter from the back of the parlour, 20 cows at a time, come in, line up in their cubicle where they get fed. They get fed for yield, so each cow gets a different ration of cake in front of it, depending on how much milk they're giving. They don't get fed as much as the high yielders. They might have about 1 kilo of food per milking, whereas the high yielder will be on about 3 kilos. I'm just starting to wipe the back 10. Mackie's wiping the front 10. After he's washed down the floor and all the sides. So it's constantly a clean environment. While I'm wiping, I'm looking for any differences in the bag and the teats. I'm looking for, trying to spot mastitis. That's my job while I'm in here. Is I'm not just going through the motions, I'm continuously trying to find problems. I think that's the best way to be in the parlour. So we can spot things as soon as possible and get them treated as soon as possible. And I think that all stems back to when I first started the job. I was, I think I was 12 or 13. The farmer I worked for used to pay me £15 a milking, which is nothing these days. He used to give me a £5 bonus if I found any mastitis. So I've always been proactive trying to find it when I'm milking. And that probably stems back to that. So everything we're doing here is all about efficiency. I've wiped about 10 cows and I don't have to walk all the way to the front of the parlour to put them towels in the bag. Matthew comes and collects them off me halfway and takes them back to the bag because he goes back to the first cow that he wiped because that cow's had enough time to let down its milk and feel relaxed before the unit comes on. And I'm starting putting the units on from the middle, which is the first cow I wiped. And the units in this parlour, the unit works with pulsation. So you put the clusters on, it pulsates, and that's how it extracts the milk from the cow. They come off the cow automatically when the cow's finished milking. They detect that the milk flow slowed down, and they come off the cow and then wash out themselves. The unit washes out, flushes out with a fairy liquid and water to get rid of anything that's lying in the unit, any infections or bacteria that's lying in the unit. These cows in the lows will probably give around 10 litres per cow this morning, whereas the ones in the hive didn't give anything from 15 litres upwards. One of them gave 37 litres yesterday. The cow can give a lot of milk per milking. I've just finished putting the last unit on and Matthew's already spraying the side that's just come off. We've currently milked 60 cows, whilst 40 cows have been gone out of the parlour for previous donations. It's all about routine. I'm washing down the side now and Matthew is getting the cloth ready for the next one coming in. Matthew's worried because he often puts his foot in it. So having a microphone in the parlour is quite nerve-wracking for him. So now, the last side of lows is definitely coming in now. And that will be 180 cows in our low yielding group. So the last side of cows for me is the side where you want to be extra vigilant, because if there's ever any ill cows in your group, they're going to be at the back. The lame ones are going to be at the back. The ones who have got mastitis are going to be at the back. They're not really fighting fit, so they're going to be slow and sluggish. So I always tell our milkers to be extra vigilant when it's side of cows and be actively trying to find problems. The exciting bit about getting towards the end of the first group is, you know, one of Tom O'Grain's brews is on its way. When I first started farming, I worked on a farm. She was a lovely lady called Emmy. Every morning, she'd bring me a cup of tea and a piece of toast. And then at afternoon milking, you get a cup of tea and a piece of cake. Always freshly baked. I'm not giving any hints here, Tom or Kaz, but having a nice refresher in your day is lovely. It's Cream Cake Friday today, so I'm sure there'll be a nice cake to look forward to at some point. And as if by clockwork, Tom has brought us a brew. I'm just telling the lovely general public how good you are at bringing brews out to us. It's going to sound crazy, but I could tell you who's I could tell you who's made a brew without seeing who made the brew. Graham always brings you a nice frothy coffee, so he stirs it, makes it all nice and frothy. Tom always makes you a drink tailored to what you like, so I like a nice milky coffee, so he'll bring me a nice milky coffee. And Cody, she's a good brew maker. However, Matthew, his brews are horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. And I think he does that on purpose, so we never ask him to make a stuff. So the high yielders are currently in the parlour. They don't have any takes on the tail. These cows are not pregnant, or if they are pregnant, they've not long been detected pregnant. These girls are often very, very eager to come in the parlour. And there's absolutely no difference between the high yielders and the low yielders in terms of our routine. The only difference is the cows give a lot more milk. So we're currently on the last side of cows. Once we've milked these, we'll wash the parlour down, pump the milk through, ready for the tanking man to take it, and get this parlour spotlessly clean, ready for the next people to milk this afternoon. Been nice having you in the parlour with us. I hope it's giving you a little insight into milking life and how we do things. And if you're intrigued, why not give it a go? Get in contact.
From the heart of Cheshire, this is Chewing the Cud with Karen and Dave.
Thanks for taking us into the parlour, Dave. That was really insightful. It reminded me of some of the stuff I used to do in there.
Yeah.
Thank you. I do miss milking, actually. I would one day. I don't know if I'd be good enough for you, though. You might throw me out.
Yeah, you've got to have a test before you come in.
Yeah, all right, I'll try. No, I would like to milk again. So thanks for that. That was really good. Let's not forget my quote of the day.
What is it?
That sounded creepy, Dave. Yeah. It might be a part of like what goes in the parlour as well. So it might tie in a little bit. It's about preparation.
Yeah.
So in the parlour, you do a lot of preparation. Yeah. So the way you prepare those cows for milking stops problems happening, like you getting your mastitis or things going wrong. So my quote is preparation. The best preparation for good work tomorrow is to do good work today.
Love it.
So you treat those cows well today and you prepare those udders properly and they're clean, we should have no problems tomorrow.
Love it.
No pressure, Dave.
No? Good one. Good one. Thank you very much for listening.
Oh, thanks everybody. Halton Farms is a dairy farm based in the heart of Cheshire, milking 500 cows and calving all year round. We love what we do and invite you to pop down to the milk shack anytime to have a look around. Thank you for listening to this episode. Please remember to like and subscribe to keep up to date with all our future episodes.
Chewing the Cud with Karen and Dave, your insiders at Halton Farms, British Farming Awards Dairy Farmer of the Year.
Stay up to date with everything that's happening at Halton Farms by following our social channels. All links are available in the show notes. And remember, we are social cows.